2 weeks ago I woke up and my index finger was frozen and swollen and sore. And I went straight to my Louise Hay book that said, if you've got this problem, it's because of this thinking. And I just wanted to run that by with you, whether in fact the illnesses that we have are related to specific ways of thinking and feeling. And if we want to heal that problem, whether we in fact have to understand the cause for it to be healed.
You don't have to understand the cause in the sense that you have to know what went wrong and where the root of it was. Mm-hmm. But it is very helpful to understand the vibrational root of something. In other words, we've been saying, instead of looking for medical cures, look for vibrational cause. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to go into your past to find it, because it isn't the past that is your point of attraction. It's the vibrational relationship right here and now that equals your now point of attraction. Mm-hmm. So the good news, it's all good news, but the really good news is that when you have a physical symptom like that, all that means is this symptom now is pointing at something that negative emotion was pointing at before. But since you didn't notice the negative emotion and do something about it, then it just got bigger. Mm-hmm. So you're on the right track, as you say. So what is this about? Mm-hmm. Now, something that's very helpful. Tell us, what is the experience of this swollen, stiff finger like? Just give it a little description.
Initially it was frightening because the doctor said it was either gout or acid.
But beyond that, what?
Yeah,
they can turn.
Yeah, it frightened me because I felt I couldn't write. I'm a psychologist, so I need to write file notes.
So I was stymied from doing something that's really important to me.
Yeah.
Anything else in your life making you feel that way?
Well, at the time it happened, I had just booked to come here, and I didn't know about you 8 weeks ago. So,
but never mind any of that. In other words, so if you said, so we say, so what's it like? And you say, well, it's just hindering. It's mm-hmm. not debilitating. It's just hindering.
It's painful.
Follow us just for a moment.
Sure.
We're making something up here.
Okay.
So if you had just said it's hindering, that would be different than if you said it is completely debilitating. Mm-hmm. But you said not only is it painful and swollen, you said it keeps me from doing something that really matters. Mm-hmm. So now that's the thing that we want you to focus upon. That's the vibrational essence, because something that you've been thinking about has seemed hindering in nature to you. What is it? In other words, can you write anything you want, anytime you want? Are you a good writer? Does it flow easily?
Not specifically, no.
And once you get something written, do you have a place to put it? Is it published immediately?
No.
So have you been feeling any discomfort about that? In other words, do you feel like a thwarted writer? Do you feel like a writer that's flowing, or do you feel like a writer that's thwarted?
Probably thwarted.
And doesn't that match that?
Possibly.
You see, well, it does. In other words, anything, if you have a physical condition and you will just simply acknowledge how that physical condition now is affecting your experience, mm-hmm. the first things that occur to you, identify them. It's hindering. It's not just a little hindering. It's really hindering. Mm-hmm. It's keeping me from doing important things. Mm-hmm. And then listen to those words. I feel like I'm being kept from doing important things. Mm-hmm. And then as you identify that, then now different thoughts that you've been thinking on a pretty regular basis will stick out like a sore thumb. Oh.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
See how it works?
Mm-hmm.
Now, relative to that book that you are describing, so on this emotional scale where love and appreciation and joy are on one end and despair are on the other, and on the end that feels really good is your perception of power, and on the end that feels not good is your perception of disempowerment, freedom on one end, lack of freedom on the other, and so many different emotions in between. So we talk about how we're ringing just a bit. We talk about how you put your boat in the stream wherever you put your boat in the stream. All is well? You put your boat in the stream wherever you put it in. That's where you are. And then the stream, unless you're paddling against the current, will carry you toward what you are wanting. When you realize that all along that emotional scale there are different vibrational frequencies, and if you are in despair, you can't automatically find thoughts of joy. In other words, the vibrational difference is too great. Well, there is a vibrational difference in these physical states of being. In other words, if you have frustration, cancer, or a stroke is not a vibrational match to that. You can just feel that, can't you? But if you have for a very long time had very strong, powerful desires that you have felt thwarted from doing, and you've maintained that tug of war in your vibrational countenance for a very long time, then a situation like a heart attack or a stroke is a vibrational match to that. So yes, there absolutely is something to the way you've been thinking and feeling, but we want to say it is so much an individual thing. You just cannot say across the board that this always means this, because your interpretation of things is what matters, how it feels to you. And we do not argue that there is similarity in it, enough similarity that people can get some very good clues from that. But if we were standing in your physical shoes and we felt some physical symptom coming on, we would stop and acknowledge what it is. We would acknowledge, what thoughts am I thinking? And you will begin to notice, as you pay attention to it, that the symptom will be amplified in the moment that you're doing that thing you do that's keeping your boat from flowing on the stream. Just like negative emotion will be amplified. So have you ever been in the middle of a conversation that started out fairly pleasant, and the longer you talked, the worse it felt? Until all of a sudden you notice that you don't feel all that good? Well, stop and think about the content of the conversation and realize that somewhere along the way you began pointing upstream and going against your own current. It's much simpler than most people are allowing it to be. You could have so many things diagnosed as wrong with your physical body, as evidence of this contradiction in the stream, and you could just begin to develop some downstream patterns of thought, one thing at a time, one thing at a time, one thing at a time, and your symptoms are just going to loosen up so much. And as you do that, you might have a hard time figuring out what pleasant thought released what pain. And we say, who cares? Just let them go. Release the pains. Don't try to identify the specifics of it. Let your guidance work the way it is meant to work, you see. You're not creating you do not need to identify the thoughts and put them in piles of good and bad and not so bad. In other words, well, these thoughts I can think on an occasional Thursday, and these thoughts I should never, ever, ever think. And although they're tempting, I have to say. And instead, you just pay attention to the way you feel. And guide yourself to slightly improved thoughts. So talk to us, if you want to, about this work that you feel thwarted from. What is it that you are writing, and why do you want to write it?
I don't actually want to. I don't actually want to write anything. I want to plant trees.
And how long have you wanted to plant trees?
A long time.
A long time. And you feel that now you may feel that your physical experience is keeping you from it, but is that fairly new? The physical hindrance is new. What was the hindrance before that?
There wasn't any. Oh, only the land. I don't have the land.
But before that, what kept you from planting trees?
Nothing.
Why weren't you doing it?
I was.
So you were planting trees, and happily
as
planting.
many as I could put in the land that I had.
And what is it about planting trees that's so inviting?
Koalas.
Say again?
Koalas.
Koalas? You're planting trees for koalas? Where are you planting them?
I'm sorry.
It's all right. So you're planting the trees for the koalas because they are in trouble?
Yeah.
They need your trees?
I like them.
So it's all right. So we're not surprised your finger hurts. In other words, when you have a cause that is important to you, and without knowing it, it's been an upstream cause, do you think that you're planting the trees for these beasts out of a knowledge of their well-being, or about a fear of their not well-being?
Well, there are fewer of them around where I live now than there used to be. And it was such a joy to see them.
So you feel responsible to them? What will happen if you don't plant any more trees? What will happen to them?
There will be fewer of them around.
So it is a sort of effort to save them?
Yeah.
And single-handedly sort of hard, yes?
Well, there's a block of land I'd like to have so that I could plant 1,000 trees on it and live there.
So you're getting the sense of this? In other words, the longer we visit, the more the vibrational reason comes to being, you see. So now you say, there's this thing that I really, really want, but for some reason, I'm stuck on the upstream side of it. In other words, I'm planting the tree. In other words, when you're in alignment with something, the universe helps you. When you hold this vision and you get in alignment with it, suddenly you're not the only one planting trees. Suddenly there's a movement for planting trees. Suddenly many people get involved, and there are many sections of land set aside, and the bears begin to move freely, and everything begins to improve. But when you feel single-handed in it, there it is again. Don't have that other hand, do you?
No.
So all you have to do, you have a very bright, beautiful vibrational escrow over here. So when you are thinking about this project and taking this little hiatus from it, say to yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And tell us, if you will, please, why are you doing it? Why are you planting the trees? Get into the microphone.
I want to create just a beautiful environment for a home with lots of trees, encourage the koalas, the native birds. I want to live somewhere that's beautiful.
All right. Now, it sounded pretty good, didn't feel too good. So now tell us all of that and try to make it as downstream as you can. I love nature. I love beautiful things.
I love flowering gums.
I live in a place where nature is abundant. I live in a place where it comes easily, yes. I enjoy the process of it. I do it for my own pleasure. Some days I do more than others. In other words, what you're wanting to do is find a more relaxed stance at it. It feels to us that you've taken on this project and you can't get anybody to really help you, and you're sort of going after it on your own, and the harder you work, the tireder you get, and the tireder you get, the fewer people help you, until you're just sort of worn out and you feel defeated about the project, you see. And in your sensation of feeling defeated about the project, now your physical apparatus is manifesting exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
And so now you know what to do.
Yeah.
Line up the energy first. Make it a downstream proposition to yourself. Let ideas begin to flow, and you'll feel the shift take place within you. And our encouragement is, don't go back to the effort of planting the trees until you really feel inspired to do it from your joyful place. Say things to yourself like, they got along without me before I got involved in this, and they're probably doing fine now, and I just wanted to co-create with them, and I'm not essential to their experience, and they'll be all right either way, but it sure is fun to play with them, and I sure do like nature, and I sure do like the way it responds to me, and I'm intuitive about it. I have really a green thumb, a swollen index finger, but a very green thumb, and I'm really doing very well in this, and I'm glad that I've had this opportunity. I'm glad that my physical body gave me some awareness about something that's so important to me, because now I'm aware of it. Now I can really turn my thoughts towards something and really begin to connect with the power of the universe. And when I think about it, how many trees could I really plant? And I was trying to do this with action, and now my blessed finger has helped me to realize that it was never a project about action. This is a much bigger project than me and my action and the paltry handful of people that I could harass into helping me could accomplish. This is something that must be done vibrationally, just as my finger feeling better is something that I must do vibrationally. So as I bring myself into alignment and I feel the relief in my physical apparatus, I will then know that I've come into alignment with the other, and then I am fully expecting the resources of the universe to open up and assist me in this very important and very life-changing and very wonderful decision that I've made about what I want to do on this planet at this time. Very good.